Have you ever paused a task to check a notification on your phone, only to realize that you've lost half an hour before you actually return to your task? The actual statistic is this. Each time you click on a notification, you get pulled away for 23 minutes and 15 seconds on average. Just multiply that by the number of times that you click on a prompt daily, and you realize how much precious time you are losing. If technology is supposed to help us to work better and faster, why are we feeling so much more unproductive, stressed, and overwhelmed than ever? That's because there are 3 big lies about the digital world that's stealing away our time and our quality of life. Hi, I'm Angela from GrowthGarden. In this video, we'll debunk those 3 lies and find out how you can start using technology to your advantage instead of the other way around. These are my key takeaways after trying out ideas from different books on productivity and digital wellness. You'll find the links below to some of the free summaries for my favorite titles. Let's face it, technology is here to stay. As of 2024, there are 4.9 billion smartphone users. And if you stack all the digital devices being used today, including smartphones, tablets, and computers, their combined height would easily surpass the distance from Earth all the way to the moon. Technology is useful. Yet, you probably have a nagging feeling that machines are taking over our lives. Everywhere we go, on the trains, in the streets, at a gathering, or over a family dinner, everyone is bent over their devices. I'm guilty of that too. If I leave the house without my phone, I will double back for it, even if it means being late for an appointment. The moment I'm waiting in line or hear my phone buzzing, I'll just intuitively reach out for it. Psychologists have pointed out that such behaviors are actually very similar to drugs and alcohol addicts. Yet, we are still reluctant to give up these tools because we've come to believe 3 lies about them. Lie number 1. More tools and apps make us more efficient. Just think of how you pick up your phone for an email notification, only to end up tapping into another notification about a comment on your social media account, then another one from your wellness app telling you to drink more water, and so on. Can you see how fast one distraction can lead to the next? Most apps have some value, but too many apps will only make you less efficient because each app is designed specifically to keep you hooked. They are so hard to resist because they trigger the release of dopamine, which is the short-term feel-good chemical linked to addiction. Each time a notification pulls you away from your task, your brain needs to switch focus, even for a few minutes. And it all adds up to make you feel stressed out. The science is a bit complicated, so let's try a personal exercise instead. For just one day, do a mental count of the number of times you click on a notification while you're doing something else. Multiply that by 23, then by 365 to know roughly how much time you're losing to digital distractions per year. When I first tried this, I had 12 clicks. So if I'm like the average person, each click pulls me away for 23 minutes, which means that I'm losing 4.6 hours a day. I was thinking, no, that can't be right. So I googled the trends, and as of 2024, people are spending on average 6 hours and 58 minutes online per day. So my number is right within the ballpark. And if I multiply that by 365 days, that's 70 days of my year gone. Precious time that I'll never get back. Now you might be thinking, but that's not really time lost. I'm using the time to learn, to relax and connect with people. That brings us to lie number 2. Browsing online is an excellent way to stay informed and entertained. Yes, you can get infotainment online, but is it really the best way to learn or enjoy yourself? Similar to lie number 1, online content is also packed with distractions designed to pull you down the rabbit hole. And it comes in the form of suggested content. Just think about the last time you went online to check the news or search for information, but you ended up wasting an hour on unrelated content. That same hour could have been spent completing a project or testing out a useful idea. How about entertainment? Let's take a moment to think back on your fondest memories. Your answer probably involves offline activities like learning to surf, doing arts and crafts, or spending time with your loved ones. I doubt it's going to be binge watching Netflix or playing video games for hours. There is potential for learning and entertainment online. But beyond a certain point, every extra minute you spend delivers less and less value. This is called the law of diminishing returns. Now, if you can jump straight into what you need and get out right away, that's great. But most of us get sucked into endless content and we wind up scrolling mindlessly. That leads us to the last big lie. Lie number 3. Social media and online chat help us to stay connected. Here's the truth. Digital platforms can be a useful way to exchange information or keep in touch with others. But text messages, likes, and comments cannot replace real conversations and face-to-face interactions. Sending 50 messages to a friend doesn't even come close to dropping by for a visit or giving them a call. And it's dangerous because you do away with in-person communications, thinking that you've already connected with the person online. We human beings need physical human connection. We need our hugs, the chemistry that flows between people when we look at one another in the eye, to really understand others and feel understood in return. When we try to replace real interactions with digital ones, we end up feeling empty, lonely, and isolated. Once you're aware of these 3 lights, you can start to take some steps to reclaim your time and focus. I constantly experiment with ways to have a more healthy digital life. Here are 3 practical strategies that I find the most effective. The first thing to do is to drastically trim your digital fat. It's like body fat. You want just enough for optimal health, but not so much that you become unhealthy. And the best way to start is through a digital detox. There are different ways to do that, and the most ideal approach is also the most extreme. To do a clean break like what Johan Hari did, he literally moved to a remote offline location for 3 months to work on his novel. The idea here is to force yourself to try out a totally different lifestyle without the digital tools and influence that you've taken for granted. Now, given the nature of my business, I found this quite impractical. So I did something closer to what Carl Newport did.
I only want to use digital tools that give me really big returns on a small number of things I really care about. And I'm happy missing out on everything else.
His 30-day digital detox involves cutting out all optional technologies that won't severely hurt your personal or professional life. And you must set restrictions even for the most essential ones. Wait, if you're already thinking, oh my god, that sounds so painful, I'm never gonna do it, then try this other approach which I found more viable. Set aside a few hours to go through every app on your phone and computer. Group them into one of 3 levels. Level 1 are apps that you absolutely need. These could be apps critical for your work, such as design apps for creative professionals, or the messaging apps that you use to communicate with your closest friends and family, like coordinating when to pick up your daughter from school. Keep these apps, but limit the context of how you use them. For example, if you're a social media marketer, then you cannot delete your social media apps. But you can limit the usage to only the Business Manager or Creator Suite. For me, I use WhatsApp a lot. So for 30 days, I moved all my chats into the archive and kept only a few key contacts active. It's crucial to turn off all notifications. You should dictate when to use the apps and not the other way around. Level 2 are the non-essential apps that you want to keep because they fill you up or make you happy. By all means, keep a few of your favorite entertainment or games apps, but make sure you limit the usage. Most smartphones have options for digital well-being, so you can set when and how long you use each app. What I did for my detox was to keep only the games that could be finished in 5 to 15 minutes. Then I play just 1 session after every hour of focused work as a reward. But I also limit the total amount of time that I use for gaming to make sure that I vary them with other offline leisure activities, which we'll cover in the second strategy. Finally, we'll remove all other apps by default. As we explored in the first slide, every app will have some value, but it doesn't mean that it's worth your time or distraction. If it's not critical for personal or professional life, and it's not an app that you truly love, then just delete it for your digital detox. If it turns out to be really important, you can always add it back later. I strongly recommend doing this planning exercise in one sitting so that you can see the extent of your digital consumption and decide if that's what you really want for your life. It's like when you go for a buffet, there's only so much you can eat in one sitting before you feel sick. But if you eat buffet style every single day, you're going to end up killing your body and health. Yet, that is exactly what we are doing right now with our digital consumption. The first strategy frees up time from digital overconsumption so you can rediscover the joys of offline activities. Just think back to your childhood or teenage years. What are some of your best memories that come to mind? Maybe it was playing hide and seek, doing a scavenger hunt with your friends, playing soccer, or even pranking each other. What happened to those activities? Let's bring them back into our lives. You can explore them in 3 ways, which are not mutually exclusive. These are time with yourself, time with others, and immersive activities. First, spend some time with yourself. Scrolling through social media feeds or watching TV isn't me time because you're still being bombarded by external inputs. What you can do is to sit quietly by the balcony, listening to the birds chirping, take a quiet stroll by the beach, or relax in a hot bath. By doing nothing, you're actually giving your mind and body the chance to rejuvenate. I used to avoid solitude, but I've come to enjoy quiet time with myself. And some of my most creative ideas emerge during or after such sessions. You can also use the time to do some self-reflection using offline tools like journaling or brainstorming with classic pen and paper. It engages your mind differently from using computer software or note-taking apps. Second, enjoy some offline activities with your loved ones. Instead of spending the afternoon liking and commenting on other people's posts, try visiting your parents in person, catching up with friends over dinner, or call someone to find out how they're doing. I block off part of my time for the most important people in my life, and I share more on that process in this video on work-life integration. Third, go for immersive offline activities that you enjoy so much that you can lose yourself in them. You can do this alone or with your loved ones. For me personally, the most immersive activities usually involve either sports or arts, such as badminton, cycling, rock climbing, painting, arts and craft, singing or playing music. Basically, you're enjoying the activities so much that you naturally stop thinking about work or your digital life. These are also likely to be the things that end up being the most energizing and memorable for you. The first two strategies go hand in hand as you cut down on low-quality digital activities and replace them with high-quality offline ones. But this won't be a one-time exercise. Technology will keep evolving, and there will always be new sites and apps clamoring for your attention. We'll also have moments of weakness when we give in to temptations or lapse back into old habits. And this is where the last strategy comes in to help us to maintain and refine our digital habits. In a previous video, we discussed the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle. Basically, a handful of tools and activities will bring you the bulk of your results, and a handful of causes will lead to the bulk of your problems and distractions. You can use this principle to keep refining your tech use and your digital well-being. Ask yourself two questions. First, what are 20% of digital tools or activities that's bringing 80% of your desired results or happiness? You want to do more of those things. Next, what are 20% of digital tools or activities that's creating 80% of your distractions or frustrations? These are the ones that you want to remove from your life. I recommend doing a simple review every month or so, possibly as part of the sell time that we discussed earlier in Strategy 2. Personally, I think that technology is great and it can add real value to our lives if we use it intentionally. There is a wider and scarier issue of how tech companies are tracking our digital behavior and using that data to manipulate us psychologically. I think that's an important but separate dialogue, though you can drop a comment below if you'd like to see more videos on that. In the meantime, each of us can take greater responsibility for our lives. To become more aware of how you are using technology, how you're being influenced by technology, and then making a conscious choice of how you want to design and live your life. The 3 strategies in this video will help you to regain some personal clarity and control over your digital life and to improve your overall well-being. But if you truly want to eliminate distractions and improve your focus, then find out what else you need to do in this video. I'll see you there.